Hello. We love telling you about different mission opportunities that we've gone on. The hardest part of doing that is that it feels sometimes two-dimensional, where we're telling you stories of places that we've been, but to fully understand it, we want you to understand the full picture. So this video is meant for you to be able to take a glimpse into Guaymas and see what's happening there and what God's doing through our church, but through Kingdom Network as a whole. So the beginning of the video, you're going to get a great overview of the pastors who are starting churches and what those church plants look like. And then the second half of the video, you're going to get testimony and story and firsthand experiences from our congregation members who are there. Again, they know and we know that it is really hard for us to give you the full experience, but we hope that you can see how God used us and is using Kingdom Network to expand the kingdom. As the video begins, we want you to take note. We served at Christio Zion, and we served alongside of Absalom.
3 churches in the United States, all a part of the Kingdom Network. The 3 churches involved are Emmanuel Reformed Church in Paramount, California, Cornerstone Church in Chowchilla, California, and First Reformed Church of Orange City, Iowa. In February, the 3 churches went to do some of the good work they could do down in Mexico, and also to let you see a picture of what we are seeking to do down there. We invite you in. In Guaymas, Mexico, and the surrounding towns, at the heart of the movement is Ciudad de Refugio Church, which is the mother church. It's led by Pastor Raphael Sr., Raphael Jr., and Absalom, all pastors. Their vision is bold, building a vocational training center where they have their church, launching a brick-making business as well, expanding their facilities to better serve their community where they feed hundreds of kids. They teach kids how to be worship leaders. They bless the community. They help the community not be a drug-addicted, broken down place, but a place of hope and healing. It's a phenomenal church. We're so proud of it. They've also been partnering with church leaders from Mexico and beyond to now equip and train others to be pastors, leaders, church planters who also have missions that are going to bless the community tangibly, physically, emotionally, as well as obviously bringing people to Christ. But to grow and serve as fully effectively as we would hope they could use support from people like you and me. Ciudad de Refugio is the beginning point. Here's the other churches that now are springing up that we want to support and grow other churches out of as well. There's Restoration Church. It's grown from being a small gathering into a thriving congregation of 50 to 60 people. They're praying to expand. There's Adullam Church. They have a deep heart for children and the homeless. Their outreach is strong. They need more space to continue making a difference. There's Christo Zion, reaches farm workers and families. They recently launched a children feeding program, and they're planting small groups in the surrounding neighborhoods. There's La Gloria de Dios, starting as a simple gathering under a tree. Today they're a growing congregation serving their community again through feeding programs, but they need sturdy chairs to welcome everybody. Bethesda Church has outgrown its small converted garage space, and with donations waiting, they plan on building a new church building to reach even more people. So each of these churches, as you can see, is seeking to serve their community in Mexico, feeding the community, loving the community, blessing the community, telling the community about Jesus Christ, making disciples of Jesus. Our goal alongside them is to plant many, many, many churches. If you'd like to help, you can pray. Or you can pray and give financially. Or you can pray, give financially, and send down work teams to join us in building bathrooms or putting roofs on or serving the children. We'd love to have you participate with these Kingdom Network churches that are emerging in Mexico. God be with you. We appreciate your prayers, your support, and any way you want to tie in.
So what would you say, how many trips have you been on?
I have been on over 50 trips in the last 40 years.
So you've had a lot of different experiences.
I've had a lot of different experiences, and they're all special.
I guess expectations. I mean, we've been to Mexico before on some trips, which was a little different, but I was open to it. I mean, we enjoyed going on missions, so we were pretty open to whatever would happen. I mean, it was the first time for this group to be here at Guaymas, so it was anticipation for that, a new place, and excited to see what was happening. But I guess that was, for me, it was
Yeah, I think we were excited
excited about it, yeah.
for the new adventure. You know, what was going to take place. I mean, a little nervous since we were going to be the first group there, but excited for the most part.
So why don't you start and just tell people who you are? You're probably not familiar faces to the congregation, Ken.
Adjutant.
And I'm Cheryl Adjutant.
And you are new to our congregation.
Yes, Brandon.
Yes.
Brand new. In fact, you were still deciding when you decided to go on this trip.
We were.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was appealing to you about going to Guaymas? And why did you decide to take the leap, even though you were just getting to know our congregation?
Well, I think for us, we have done mission trips before, and it was important to us to find a church that was mission-minded. And when we came to the informational meeting, we were so welcomed by the other people. It was our first time of meeting anybody there, and we were so welcomed, and people were so, and they had gone on mission trips before, and they were so willing to share how it went and what they did.
I guess, yeah, from the multiple mission trips I've been on, you can definitely see a similarity between the different groups. But this one was unique in its own way. I mean, it was something that was separate from the United States. That aspect of it gave it a whole new feel. With the similarities, you see this intense love for sharing the gospel to those around them. And that was very evident in the way that they outreached into the community. I mean, we love to see that outreach towards the children and bringing the children in. They saw a need where these kids, a lot of them, weren't getting fed. They were in rough homes, living with grandparents that really couldn't create an income. So being able to see them see that need and using that as an avenue to share the gospel and just little tidbits.
Nikki, you got to go with us to Guaymas. If you could kind of encapsulate what you saw or what the ministry is, I know that's a really big question.
Yeah.
But if you could kind of narrow down, like, what would you tell somebody?
Yeah.
I guess I would say very much of a discipleship, mom, father type of ministry, from the father to the sons, raising them up as pastors, to the way that they served everyone in the community. It was very family style. It was doing the things that you do in a home, feeding them, teaching them, and it was beautiful.
And exciting to hear that we might have a Kingdom Network hub in Mexico.
Yeah.
So that is something to be very excited about in the coming future.
Yeah, while we were there, we had a church from Chowchilla and from Emmanuel, who both have Hispanic ministries happening inside their church. And so they are doing a lot of the discipling in the native tongue and just really helping to bring those leaders along.
Yep.
And then for us from the Midwest, who maybe don't have the language ability, but still have that ability to come alongside and and bring our areas of giftedness. Like that was
Yep.
pretty exciting to watch.
It was very exciting to watch, and it's very awesome to see this partnership form and see what it can develop into and have these great visions for the future on both sides.
Mhm.
So I'm very excited for FRC and for Guaymas Church. So
Yeah. Oh man, our money is going to good use. Even their thought process of trying to add on that cement truck so that they could then provide for themselves, the commitment that or the conscientiousness that you saw when they knew that we were going to be providing them money. They were like, "Are we doing good?" Like their conscientious heart for using our time and our money well. I am so grateful that we're investing in them. One thing different about this trip that we don't experience on a lot of trips is that energy of starting churches.
Yeah.
Of churches beginning. And just like seeing that it wasn't because of us. Right. Those were already going. Raphael Sr. is the senior pastor of the church that we stayed at. And then his sons, Raphael Jr. and Absalom, are both part of church plants. We got to witness that and pray with the pastors there. And I think that that's a new area that our church is starting to dive into. What is church planting? Coming alongside somebody, like
Coming alongside and helping with, and what do you need, and how can we help you? Yes, instead of just kind of coming in and saying, this is what we want to do. See what we can do for you and help you with what you see as your vision.
And on Sunday, when we worshiped with them, do you want to talk a little bit about what we saw?
They greeted us as we came in, and they said some things from the pulpit and thanked us, and everybody shook our hand and stuff. So that was really, really cool. And Raphael Sr. was his 60th birthday, so they had a little thing for him too, which was fun. But it was just a joyful time, and they actually had a translator for us from the United States so that we could be part of the service. And we also went up front and sang a song, so that was fun too. So,
they gave the pastor a suit, and shoes, and a few pesos, and the way that all happened was so touching. To see him accept that gift, and to know what a sacrifice that was for them to give that, and how he accepted that, and what that all meant to each of them.
And then we saw the men. We kind of had background of their story of change, right? Walk up and pray with, and then pretty soon more and more. And so they were like, "We want you guys to pray with them,"
and they were praying and weeping as they were praying. It was a very touched in the Sunday morning service when it was Raphael Sr. pastor, his birthday, and that they presented him with a gift, and how moved they were, and how open the men of the church. I mean, it started with the men, like he was kind of getting emotional, and the men came up and stood on each side of him and put a hand on his shoulder, and then it turned into a group around him, and then it was just, it seemed like almost everybody that was there, came up to just put their hands and pray and offer support over him, and just how moved he was by that. And that was very humbling to be a part of that, and to be included in that.
And we got to sing "How Great Thou Art" in English as they were singing
it back to us.
Back to us in Spanish.
It was neat. Very neat.
We sang "How Great Thou Art," and they were belting it in Spanish, and we were trying to belt it in English. But it was pretty, like, that transformative of, like, God is God.
Yes.
And that is what heaven will be like. Every tribe and tongue we'll worship together.
Yep. And that's so cool. That's that Revelation 7:9 for anybody that wants to go to their Bibles and look it up. It is. It's all languages, all cultures. He doesn't give any of that up. Like, we're not going to all sound the same. But we can, like you said, have that beautiful harmony of different languages together, worshiping our God. So cool.
We did sing together with them.
Yep.
So what was that like?
Well,
It was hard to say the English words when I'm hearing the Spanish words all the time, so I mostly hum through it.
Yeah. But they sang a lot of old hymns.
Yeah, both hymns and even the new King of Kings and Waymaker, which was great.
Yeah. And so they would sing it in Spanish,
Right?
and we would try really hard to sing it in English at the same time.
Right.
For me, that was significant to watch. Our last day there as we sang and worshiped together. I think that's the first trip I've been on that I've seen the most tears from both sides.
yeah.
And I just think that that's important because even though we don't speak the same language, like, there is that deeper spiritual connection that really ties us together.
Our language was in our emotions, not our voice, but our emotions with each other.
Yeah, you'd often find somebody with their arm around somebody else.
And the picture of Craig and Pastor Mario.
That spoke volumes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that wasn't unusual to see people from our with people from Guaymas,
Oh, yeah.
just arm in arm, praying for each other, even if it wasn't a different language.
And Sunday night, it was just so like family. Like Sunday night when we were sitting at the big table and there was one game going on at the next, and it was their family and our people from our group, and on the other end it was dominoes, and again it was a mix. And it wasn't, we didn't need to speak the same language to play dominoes, and to play the other game with the little blocks, and just to be present and watch that. And people were laughing. Somebody would lay down something and somebody else wanted that spot on the dominoes. So yes, it was like we just got to be a family, like a family gathering where our extended family comes, they sit around the table and play games.
Yeah. There was the camaraderie with the group that I absolutely loved. We're all different. And that ability, which I have to give you credit, but that ability to just accept people who they are and find a job for everyone. And more than accept, it was like just this jovial, fun, playful attitude that we had while we worked day and night. Like, I went to bed so tired. Your dad was this constant joker, and it just made it light. And it was so hard, such hard work, but at the same time, I could have done it for days and days and days. The same God with the same spirit of bringing the kingdom right here on earth.
Yeah. And the importance of planting the churches where they're needed.
Well, that just made me think of Absalom and yes, he bared his soul a little bit on what I don't know if I can do this or moving or what's all involved. I got certain.
Well, then that Maria could see Christ through Absalom's brother in the factory.
Yes.
And that started another spot to plant a church, and they're figuring out how to reach the people in that area where she lives. And they're helping her.
Yeah, we witnessed in that family just this openness to what do you have for us?
Right.
Yeah.
And Absalom, who our church really is partnering with and going to be praying for and supporting, really kind of fought that, like, I don't know if I could have started a church,
Right.
but then said yes, and then didn't know how that was going to work out.
Yep.
That it was really such a blessing for us to be able to witness what that's looking like.
Yeah.
How their family is praying through that, and how we get to be part of that same goal and mission.
I think for me, it was to go see where Raphael Jr. and Absalom went, where their outreach wants to be, where their church, where they want to go and start kind of the same thing, getting the children in, feeding them, doing some Sunday school, singing, and hopefully that transfers into parents coming and preaching and stuff. To see a couple of those places, and we went to Maria's house where she wants to have that, and that was really cool. It wasn't a real nice part of town, obviously, but they wanted to be there, and they felt that was where you needed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at that and you go, wow, that's really a big step to do that, a step of faith to do that, to go out and just put it out there, and hopefully people will come, and I think they will. He's dedicated to it. He wants to do it, and I think it's great just to see that and where that is. It's pretty cool.
We are the church of the past.
Mm-hmm.
The church of the future is actually our children.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to see the church grow and to thrive, we need to be willing to disciple and pour into our children.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is done around the dinner table, praying and taking an interest, seeing our children and their lives, and then also sharing the hope of Jesus in those moments as well.
Yeah, and we saw in Guaymas a lot of the adult leaders, they came to church because their children were actually bringing the word home to them.
Yes.
And so that was really interesting to watch how it did start with the children.
It did.
What was different? Yeah. Well, I want to say Holy Spirit, but I'll actually say Jesus. Like, that's what they're doing. They're smack dab in the middle of, like, broken down mafia houses. Some of them no walls, others maybe just a little brick thing. And you drive into that space. There's some gates, like chain link gates, and you just feel safe in there. And everyone knows it. And they're the hands and feet of Jesus. They get it. They're passing it on from generation to generation. They're raising up their children in their, not their own children, but the children that visit. They're now starting to want to be Christian leaders. It's just awesome. Most of the people spoke Spanish.
Right.
How did that impact our work there?
I don't think it really impacted the work. We got along well. We used Translate on our phone, and that didn't always work real well, but we got by with it.
Yeah.
And they knew a little English. Absalom, he knew English pretty well. And Raphael Jr. And we used some sign language.
We didn't speak the same language all the time. I mean, we had broken Spanish, they had broken English, but we communicated. A lot of times, I think it's the smiles.
And so there's, that barrier of language.
Yeah.
But what did you see happen even though that barrier was there?
Yeah. Well, they just want to know, their heart is that they want to know we're cared for and that they're being helpful to us or whatever. And so there's a lot of charades and different things like that, trying to talk. You could see the start of the week to the end of the week, like the kitchen gals, they hardly said anything towards the end. They're trying to motion to you and stuff. And even, our pastors that were supporting, they started talking more, laughing more and stuff. But I don't think that should be a hindrance. I spoke very little Spanish, and it's good. I mean, love is the language.
A lot of people, when we said we were going on a mission trip to Mexico, and they said, well, where are you staying? I said, well, we're staying in Mexico at a church in Mexico, in Guaymas. And they said, you're going to stay there the whole time? I says, yeah, we are. Well, you're a little nervous about that? I says, really am not. We felt safe all the time. I wasn't worried about that in the least, about staying there and being there.
I think people here have a big misconception
Yeah,
about
I agree with
safety there. And it's like they don't want to put us in harm's way.
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything to put us in harm's way. And we never felt that at all. I mean, I can't tell you how many people said that to us before.
Yeah,
that,
a lot.
Aren't you scared to go? And it's just like, no, we're not scared to go.
No, not at all.
So I think that's just a big misconception. And we never felt that at all the whole time we were there.
No.
Did you? Yeah.
No. Did you have apprehension before you went? Yeah. I remember sending a little video of like the drive through the alleyway and the blocks and then coming in to Jeff. And his like very quick text back was, "Are you safe?" And I was like, "Yeah, I am." Yeah. Like you just feel covered, and yeah, it's unbelievable. It's really great.
There's a lot of concerns around Mexico right now
Mm-hmm.
with the cartel and the things that you see on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And people can get this idea of fear in their minds. And that cripples us. And that keeps us from doing things for Jesus and with Jesus. More, that's a better way to put it, is with Jesus. And I would say, don't be afraid. And never once did I feel unsafe when I was there. Never once did I feel like I just need to get out of this situation. He's there. He was protecting us, and he will protect you too. I encourage you to go, give it a shot, and learn. Just come in with a posture of learning and an open mind, and it'll be amazed what you will learn as you go to bless others.